All right, ladies and gents, welcome. Sorry for the delay, but we are finally live here with our SA matchup between Interitus and Unknown Team here with T-Panda and Kips on the commentary. Hopefully everything is sorted and put into place. So I believe we're ready for some Dota. The draft is already pretty much already done here. So where do we start, Kips? There's so much to talk.
Well, we start by saying that this is a very South American draft. We've got the Dawnbreaker, probably position 5 in the support role here. We've got the Weaver. I think the Weaver is every single region right now. On the POS 4 support, together with the Centaur Warrunner, very high damage lane. They're going to be running at this Gyrocopter. And this Gyrocopter has the task of keeping up with the Luna, or I guess if you could also say that Interitus's Luna here has the job of keeping up with the Gyrocopter, since he was picked last here.
Right, so we've got a lot of... we could almost say a bit of shenanigans going on with the draft, like considering Interitus, they've got some strong lanes, good competition for mid-game. And Unknown, they have, they have this setup, but what I'm worried about here with this Invoker is, I would kind of want to say lack of stuns, or like lack of proper stuns, because then you're looking at a Quaswex Invo instead of an Exort, and do you have enough damage if you just have a Quaswex Invoker in your team? Is this fully just early mid-game oriented, or do you have any late-game insurance?
Honestly, it's going to have to come from whoever plays the offlane here, and I got a feeling that this POS 5 Dawnbreaker that I just talked about is in fact going to be a POS 3 Dawnbreaker.
Right.
With Banjaz picking that up. I'm unfortunately having a hard time here because I have a list of the players, but unfortunately they're not rocking the nicknames right now that they're supposed to have.
Right. Well, let's hope that the in-game UI at least brings up the names correctly. I do have to admit at this point I kind of rushed this entire setup in about 15 minutes, so hopefully we're all good.
That happens.
It happens,
This is Dota 2.
The esports life, put it that way. That's how it is.
Exactly.
But with our drafts complete, heading into this first game, as a whole, looking at the draft, I kind of feel like I want to go into Interitus's bandwagon. I guess you could put it in this way.
You want to get on the train?
It's just a draft that seems more familiar to me, and I feel like it's a bit easier to execute. It's got its own timings, it has its power spikes, and definitely the lanes. Most importantly, the lanes are good. Like, they are good for Unknown too, but for some reason I really like the combination here with the Centaur Bane that you have for the Interitus lineup. Like, Centaur overall should do a good time in his lane. And we're looking at the minus armor amplification for the Luna, the space-creating Weaver, a lot of openings on the map that you can go scout out for the opponents, and just wreak havoc all over the place. I feel like there's a lot of mobility, a lot of control, a lot of damage. The lineup just looks too good to me.
Yeah, and I agree with all of these reasons for Interitus here, but I also have a much more simple reason. I am very biased towards Ryur. I think this guy has made a lot of impressions, especially with his TA previously. But this guy is a staple of the SA scene. He's been around for a long time. He's this old school mid laner, and he's on a very old school hero right now. And I really want to see where he's going to be taking this quap, because he is going to be the flavor maker of this game really over on this mid lane.
Well, do get the go sign from Interitus at least. Unknown still, I don't know. What is their current state unknown or not? At least they do get the go sign. They're good to go. Get our game rolling. Doesn't look like we have anything too special regarding starting items, at least on Unknown side. Very traditional, very basic. Yep, seems the same for Interitus. Fun fact, sometimes you would even consider or opt to go for a Blightstone with this Weaver. Would you do it though? Like, is it worth it? Is the 300 gold for a -2 armor really the thing as a Weaver?
If you have, say, a ranged offlaner, definitely, because you can really spam out the enemy here. But with a centaur, who's most likely not going to be face to face with his gyrocopter, the biggest amount of damage that you're going to be putting in as a weaver is through the Sukuchi
Right.
damage. So it's
Hmm. Nice
it's
little
it's a yeah.
That's a good place to be in. Intimidation play, I guess.
I wish I understood that meme.
We are, you know, we're out of the loop. Maybe we'll catch
I
we'll catch the SA banter
we're
at some point.
we're going to catch. I mean, I'm messaging my sources right now.
It's like, what's up with this? Like, what is going on? Is this some specific thing? Though we're not gonna see some aggression at least here for the bounty spawns. So it looks like we might just go for a potential... Yeah, the Luna's second thinking or having second thoughts about contesting that river room. So Weaver's actually sneaking in from behind. And will snatch one bounty for the team, making it 3 for Interitus.
Very nice. And we do have no name here on the. He's going by Ben Jazz right now. I guess that's what you can do if your name is no name. You can just put anything in there. But we are going to have him on the offlane Dawnbreaker, so a very strong mid-game brawling presence coming out from him, and a very dangerous lane here with a lot of damage coming out, especially on levels 2 and 3. So this Luna, yeah, they're bringing the Bane down here. They have a strong lane as well, but this is not a trading lane for Unknown. This is a kill lane, and Bane is the best at trading. So we're going to have to see who comes out on top here.
I really like the idea of having the Dawnbreaker with the Lion, because Lion, if you land the Earth Spike, you will guarantee Starbreaker if you don't get hit by Lucent Beam, which also kind of counteracts the Dawnbreaker here in this lane. So you gotta kind of bait 1-2 spells out to see the rest of the equation. So you have to wait for the Lucent Beam to go on cooldown to get the continuation. Otherwise, it's just trading one spell for another, not getting like the full... potential out of the combo you have in this lane. But still, good harass. And Bane's job, most importantly here, keep the Lion busy, keep him away, so that he's not hitting the Luna, but instead of the Bane.
And I imagine that if the Dire go for a kill here, they're going to try for this Bane because they can't afford to get a Nightmare out later on and interrupt their combo.
I agree on that. Mid matchup, looking fairly even here. 6-3, 5-1 here with Rayur and Soul. With the, I kinda dislike the matchup for the Quap in this case of the Invoker already level 3. If you go for 2 points in Quas, you've got so much HP regen that you can easily deal with this this Queen of Pain here in this mid lane. All the harass that you take is basically just brought back as regen. And as you can see, Quaswex is the idea they wanted to go for. While it is actually the Undying going down at the top lane, trying to harass the Centaur, but not enough. Interitus pick up first blood.
Very nice. Yeah, I was focused on the mid lane as well because I just realized that this is, of course, Sol, who has apparently 1,000 games on Invoker. So no wonder he is managing this. Yeah, he played it from time to time. So Rayur definitely has his work cut out for him here.
Yeah, Quap's gonna get some extra damage and forces the Fairy Fire out. Interesting turnaround here. No mana on the Quap though, so this EMP does very minimal damage. But outside of that, Invoker still being threatened here by this Queen of Pain. Rayur does not have the mana until now. And as soon as that bottle charge appears, Invoker backs away, gets a bit of a safety distance. Don't want to get killed by that Scream accidentally.
I'm just watching both of the side lanes with eagle eyes. There's double level 2s on bottom now. Both sides of Luna just hit 3.
Top lane, they're going to go with the attempt on the Undying, but still has Decay. Stacks gets the heal out too. A lot of minus armor here. Should be a kill here for Pimpolo. But it doesn't quite... It's not quite enough. Long cooldown with the Shikuchi. Oh, wait a second. Never mind. Never mind about the cooldown. You're still giving an opportunity for the Weaver to go back in, so... That's a bit of an unfortunate mishap. The Courier seems to be threatened too, but the Weaver also moves back and realizes that that Courier is probably out of his reach.
Yep, and they've had this top camp blocked up for a while now, so there's no easy ways for Feeling to pull that wave back under his tower. He's had to go up and trade with his Centaur, and as long as it's just a Centaur, it's fine, but this Weaver has really been a
Yeah.
thorn in his side.
He has, and this also opens up the Weaver now too. Centaur's happy to stay in the lane for a bit. Weaver getting to rotate. Places down an Ops Ward here to scout the next action rune. Very important too, because this also gives information for the Quap, and you don't necessarily need to sacrifice, but set 2 heroes for the action rune contest. But look at this Centaur fall in this top lane. Gyrocopter very low on HP too. Not enough healing necessarily under the Sentry Ward too. As the Undying places it down so that this Weaver can't go in, but also recognizes that he has his own sentry here. Gyrocopter lives. They get a kill on the Centaur. Pretty big. I thought that was a great rotation, but it also left the Centaur very vulnerable there.
Yeah, they were very close to turning that around even, but the Weaver's got some physical damage abilities right now. If he would have had more levels in Sakuchi, you get to kill on the Gyrocopter there, but he's already investing in taking down the Tombstone later, which is unfortunate since there is no Tombstone yet.
Mm-hmm. Bit of a pause here to go with.
Profitable engagement.
Bit of a breather. Just want to double check that we actually do we have somewhat right names here in game compared to the player names. It does look like it. Should be.
Most of them. Interitus is going by all of their correct tags. And over on the side of Team Unknown, we do have No Name Benjaz.
Yeah, No Name was Benjaz, yeah. And Black Soul, a Soul, yeah.
Stacked up right, Argus stacked up right, yeah.
Bottom. There's a bit of a scuffle going on here with the Dawnbreaker and the Bane. Neither one actually getting killed here. That's the R. Pushes away the Lion from this lane. Luna's had a great lane so far, 28 CS. And hasn't really been bullied by this Dawnbreaker and this Lion, though they get stronger as they bring up levels. Kind of their whole idea of this lane.
You can really see here that the necessity of going on the Bane to make sure that the Nightmare doesn't just interrupt the entire combo means that the Luna has been left pretty much unmolested.
True.
It feels really nice for the Radiant right now.
It does, it does. They're coming out pretty strong with this laning stage in general, considering that they could have been a tad bit harder. Though at least their bottom lane is doing well, allowing Luna to also rotate fairly healthy into the jungle with the triangle movements, etc. However, top lane, Centaur might be a bit too deep under the tower. Invoker's TPing in. No Urn picked up though, so this is not going to be an Urn charge kill. Is it going to be enough? Is it going to even be a kill? Because this Undying is going to go down first. It goes for Hijack, and Argus holds his ground as they get the kill on the Centaur. Make it a 1-for-1 trade. And as mentioned, Invoker, with that rotation, now has the money for the Urn, but doesn't have any charges yet. So he's going to have to make another play happen soon.
That's always bittersweet, isn't it? You're
bit,
like,
yeah.
man, I don't have my Urn, but if I get this kill, I'll have my Urn. I'll just... fine. I'll kill him. He's not allowed to be behind the tower anyway.
Well, we're 7 minutes in. A couple kills here and there. Bottom might just be another kill happening here because the Quap rotating. Doesn't even want to use Sonic Wave here. Doesn't have the mana for it. Doesn't need it. They have enough damage to take down No Name. Moonlight also on the run, trying to get away. Quap doesn't actually know about this Lion. Lion's going to TP out 2 places down the ward in the jungle. We'll be happy with that.
Ooh, Rayur is walking in. A nice little find here.
Hey, double bounties. Bottle fill, get that mana pool back up, and it's a nice amount of money. Pocket money, I guess, in this case.
And he's especially happy with the full recharge here.
Yeah. And also, one step closer towards the Orchid. So, I've actually, with Eastern Europe, with the games that we've been casting lately, there's been a lot of Kaya Sanj and just not going for Orchid at all kind of plays. And I like to see that the Orchid still is a frequent item on the Quap, despite the varying builds from regions.
I think a lot of people right now are leaning into Quap's low base attack time. They're going for a scaling build. You farm with the Scream and you build up to a right clicker as well.
Yep.
But Rayur is old
top
school.
lane. They do have the Stampede. They're going to isolate this Gyrocopter. They don't take any second chances with this, leaving the Gyrocopter up. They blow everything make sure that they get this kill. And that is also the highest net worth hero from Unknown getting killed, so it's always money in the bank for Interitus.
And now we're going to be looking at the tower trade, although this Dire top tower has already taken a lot of hits and the bottom tower hasn't, so FCR, he gets to TP out barely on the bottom lane, but they could still think about holding this tower.
Potentially. At least for Interitus, they want to establish control in the top lane with that Ops ward about to expire in a couple of minutes next to that mid lane. They want to keep the control of this top area, but now that you mention it, they could actually just TP to defend this bottom lane. Sadly, only 2 teleports. Only the Bane and the Centaur are able to get there, so they might just leave it.
They should have done it about 10 seconds ago. The trade is basically made now. The other thing that I want to point out actually is that since both of the side lanes were so pressure heavy, like no heroes could leave, you could see that with the Weaver going away once and the Centaur immediately dying. Very much the same for the Lion up on bottom. It means that neither side has made stacks for their stack farming carry. And this is a Gyrocopter that went to full flak cannon and stats build. He does not have rocket barrage. He would have loved to have some stacks ready in that jungle, but there is nothing there for him, and this Weaver has already warded up the entire left side of the map. Yeah,
they've got very good control, good vision, not really allowing Unknown to play around that area. Plus, they're kind of squeezed squeezed into this bottom half of the map. Kind of like what the Gyrocopter wants to farm anyway. So holding this mid tower comes to big importance for Unknown.
Absolutely.
You lose that tower, you feel like you're going to be choked up into a really small space.
Maybe they muted us. So this is something that I have already seen. This happens a lot, actually. There is a whole bunch of SA teams who have each other muted, just the entire enemy team. Yeah. So the admin has to step in from time to time.
Yeah, I would have loved the admin actually unpause the game. That would have been great. I was actually typing into chat, but then I was like, wait, we have an admin for this kind of stuff. But they're TPing bottom. Hijack wants to make an appearance here. Look at this guy. He's got a hood. He's got a Vanguard. Killing the Centaur is going to mean a lot of resources thrown at this guy. So he's just going to stand his ground, and he's going to soak everything he can. The bait is set. Pimpolo finds the Ops ward, and now with the Centaur being they're trying to get this damage in, but as you see, the trap has been sprung. They've got the cancel onto the Bane. No Name will go down. And with this Bane still surviving, with the zombies hacking the feet of this Bane, doesn't matter. Pimpolo coming in from the side, trying to get a kill maybe on this Lion. Lion very low HP, doesn't get the Shikuchi, they're going to set the trap on the Weaver instead of the time-lapse save. And Pimpolo's out with just a couple pieces of HP remaining, gets himself back to full HP. Lion survives. Undying doesn't look to survive as Rayur is just hacking away. And, you know, they fell for the bait. You don't go on a Centaur 10 minutes with a hood and a Vanguard.
You certainly do not. I like that Interitus still went for it. They saw, alright, they didn't think Unknown was bringing enough people, and they were correct. So the Centaur gets to stand there until the entirety of the backup has arrived. And now Team Unknown has lost so many heroes that they can't defend their mid tower anymore either.
Mid tower is now gone, and now you can probably see in the minutes to come that Team Unknown is going to feel very uncomfortable in that small space, which is known as their side of the map. Which areas are going to be infested with Interitus flags? This is our place.
It is. This is huge. I can't overstate how important it is to keep that bot tower running. They can also probably look to deward this ward that's in the Radiant jungle still. Look at how far Pimpollo is. He is farming the enemy triangle. The Gyrocopter is being watched by a ward in his own jungle. Interitus can do anything they want right now, and that can also mean farming with 3 cores. That Orchid's nearly finished.
Exactly, farming with 3 cores. Farming with a 3.5 cores at this point with this Weaver, also building into an Orchid. Quap building an Orchid. Man, tough times ahead. However, smoke coming up from Black Soul and Moonlight. They find the Bane. Yeah, they're going to have to go for it. Cold Snap used. They need the Tornado. Closing the Bane into a small space. He will not use the finger for this. There was an opportunity you could use the finger to get a stack. But if you look at this, 160-second cooldown on that level 1 Finger of Death, nuh-uh, not really worth it at that point. 3 minutes of
Absolutely
cooldown.
not.
That's like an Enigma black hole, man.
It is, and it's especially painful because in this game, as you said all the way during the draft, they don't have that much mid-game damage. It is mostly this Dawnbreaker's task to deal the damage, and she is not balled out of control whatsoever. So
Yeah.
this finger is a very precious resource, and it has to be hoarded.
It has to be hoarded, and it needs to land on the right target too, because even that hood soaks up a lot of that magic damage being dealt. So with this, yeah.
Ideally, you kill the Quap. That's the
Quap's a good
that's the
target.
biggest prize you can get.
Quap is a good target to go for. 1200 HP. Finishing up an Orchid now. Now with this double Orchid, they can actually silence the Lion. So Unknown is going to miss that key crowd control for their fights. Same for the Invoker, can't cast any spells. It's kind of like, it's like 5 seconds of nothingness for Unknown, and then they can start the fight. So you have a head start. Black Soul and Moonlight, they were setting up for Pimpolo. The Reaver gets out, however, there's a Stampede used on the other side. They found the Gyrocopter. The Dawnbreaker coming into the rescue, though. No Name does get a good 2-man stun. Arceus is still down, and this Dawn is gonna need some backup. Black Soul is there. There comes the Centaur from the side with the Tumbler toy into the stun. The Bane caught as well with the Earth Spike. And with that, it's a 1-for-1 trade. They get something in return, but they have lost their Gyrocopter.
Even the heals from the Solar Guardian there weren't enough, unfortunately, to save him from the gigantic Orchid burst. At the very least, his Gyrocopter is getting close to his Aghanim Scepter now. He is looking to disassemble that Dragonlance that he's built once he's got the Point Booster and the Staff of Wizardry at ready. But still needs about 1,000. And up until that time, he's not ready to fight. They caught the Reaver, though.
Yep, well, that's the target to use the finger at. Don't want to let that time lapse go through, so make that the first stack of Finger Death kills.
I mean, what would you do if you saw a cockroach and you could flatten it under your thumb? I would.
That's a big thumb.
Have you seen lions' hands?
Yeah, I guess we can put it that way. I was starting to look at my own thumbs and I was like, meh.
Don't compare yourself. That breeds insecurity.
No, I'm not gonna do that. Though, Weaver hiding under the tower. This time it looks like they're gonna get this tower finished.
Very important from Unknown to realize this, that they will keep on being squeezed and ran at until they get this tower down, until they get a little bit of breathing space. And that has just been achieved. They brought all 5, but that's worth it.
Yeah. And that was the tower that you need to get down ASAP. And if you don't get it inside the first 20 minutes, I don't think you're ever going to kill that Radiant bottom tier 1 tower.
Usually after that it takes some serious split pushing. It is possible if the enemy doesn't take your offline tower, but they would have been in trouble there as well, because that one is also looking pretty low.
I am kind of looking at what's the split push the split push potential for Team Unknown, because we're looking at, you could go for I don't know. I just don't see how you do it. Like with the Dawnbreaker, yeah, you've got one guy Invoker. If you go TP Boots, potentially you have a second split pusher. But your wave clear is kind of lacking here on Unknown.
Yep, it's really mostly the Dawnbreaker, and ideally for that she'd get some form of mobility item to escape, something like a blink, which is not within the realm of possibility right now. I think she's just saving up for BKB right now. And you have to go BKB here. You've got 1 Orchid already, 2nd Orchid in the works. If you don't have BKBs by the time the next big fight comes around, then you're going to be in trouble. And I am admiring Soul's bravery here, because he's working on an Orchid of his own instead of going BKB.
So many Orchids this game.
Yeah. And he's counting on the fact that the Quap won't have a BKB yet by the time he has his Orchid. I'm not sure I trust that.
Nice catch in mids, and with that stun, Fingers available in 1 second. Oh, he didn't get it in time. Now they're going to turn around in mid. Black Soul's going to go down to the Sonic Wave. Fiend Script connecting onto No Name. And Dawnbreaker's going to be a second casualty too here. Luna's just happy to come and pick up these freebies. Lion just needed one more second to get that finger of cooldown, man. That hurts. And you can really feel a sting in your soul.
That is tragic. And yeah, it's gonna cost them Roche now. They would have had a tough time fighting this anyway, but at least with the buybacks that they have available and the fact that they have an outpost here, it might have been possible for Unknown to fight on the Roshan itself. But losing the heroes over on the side means that it's all but impossible.
And also that huge morale spike that you get for, hey, I got my ulti off, and everyone's like, yeah, let's go, let's go. Like, they don't have anything left. It's, you are running at them 150% speed as soon as you can. No fear. Just, you know, it's kind of like YOLO at your opponents at that point. Because your Weaver survived and pressed R. That's how simple it is. That's how easy Dota can be sometimes. You get this huge momentum spike for pressing a button. And yeah, the opponents just have no abilities left.
It is very much true. And now they're knocking on your top tier 2. And really, Unknown have no other option than to keep farming. They need something on this gyrocopter. He's going to try and build into a Satanic, making sure that he can actually stay in these long fights. Invoker nearly at the Orchid now. The BKB for the Quap is so close that I wonder if he's going to get to use it more than one fight. I suppose it's for the Weaver as well.
Yeah, I think it's for the Weaver too. Kind of like a preemptive thinking that, yeah, Weaver's going to go for Aghanims. In reality, Weaver is going for another Orchid. Eclipse has been used in bottom. Got the Gyrocopter caught under the tower. I have to say, that's a very lonely Gyrocopter there. Just with the help of the Undying, I think Unknown might have just, you know, stepped a bit of a limit there. A bit too deep in the lane. And 2 easy kills again for Interitus. Now 11,000 gold ahead, 18 minutes in. This is really turning into a one-sided show.
Absolutely. Weaver and Invoker getting their Orchids at exactly the same time. Walking to Rayur.
Okay. Yeah, it's the effort actually paying off with the kill on this Quap. 600 gold going in the hands of No Name, and also I think Lion picked up a stack on that Finger of Death. So you have this infinitely scaling ability, which is nice.
This is exactly the kill they needed. I mean, they can't stop FCR from just taking over their jungle right now, but at the very least, this kill buys a little bit of time.
Did you see how much XP they got for that solo kill?
I did not.
2,300. That's 700 per piece, and even 700 for Lion. You know how much that is? That's like an entire level for killing the opponent's mid-hero, and this Lion really could use some XP to get that level 2 ulti. That's like, it doesn't look huge in economy. Everyone usually always talks about the money, but at this point, if you can get 1 or 2 kills and your Lion stays alive, he's gonna get like 2-3 levels in a team fight, and suddenly, he's really strong.
And the lack of level 2 ultimates over on the side of Unknown is definitely hurting them right now. But they just haven't had any place to farm. Anything that was available has gone to their cores.
Luna happily pushing this bottom lane, though. That's going to be a free tier 2 for Interitus. And 1 more tower to take. And with the help of the Aegis, you're more than likely to take down this tier 2 tower with ease. However, Unknown wants to push out the wave. However, there's a... one thing on top of the other, because Interitus is making their move towards mid with their smokes. Black Soul into the high ground. Arceus is there as well. They get the stun. They caught the Invoker. They see where he is. And with that Orchid, that should be a kill. Apollo is the one to dive all the way deep. He gets silenced up by the Orchid, but that's all they can do. They just sack their Invoker. Feeling?
Nice.
Just really good stun from the Centaur. There's no chance that Unknown can move around even in their own jungle if this Centaur is landing every single war stump or hoof stump.
Vegas played a really great game. He built super tanky early, putting them into a position where they could actually defend this bottom tower. Instead of going for the initiation, he left that over to the rest of his team. And after he'd been a big bully roadblock enough, he has now transitioned into quite the initiator. I'm really enjoying his play so far.
More sprays, more tags, the confidence being shown here from the Radiant squad as they're slowly choking out Unknown into their turtle defense. There is a, well, at least there's a Crypt Swarm, or the Swarm thrown into the bot lane, so that wave's gonna start pushing. Start thinking about high ground for a moment. Though, that Aegis will expire in 35 seconds. So I think Interitus want to take a couple of minutes. Just moving around the base, farming the triangle, slowing down Team Unknown, waiting for the next Roshan, maybe one next big item. Potentially even a pickoff or a smoke attempt from Unknown. They're not in a hurry.
No, they're not. And this Luna has been building into a Skadi, which is very unfortunate news for the Gyrocopter, who's putting all of his eggs into the Satanic basket right now. That lifesteal is not going to do nearly as much for him as he'd hope.
That's not good enough.
He could still switch out into the BKB right now.
He could. I thought he would catch on to my Pirates of the Caribbean reference.
Oh.
That's
sorry.
Okay. That's okay.
It was a Pirates reference.
It flew past by.
I like to wave at those.
15-6. Only 6 kills for Unknown. Majority of those have been picked up by the Invoker and the Dawnbreaker, so still not that many. But now they have the BKB of the no-name, building up into a Halberd. That's gonna be useful against the Luna. But for Unknown, they're like, we need at least, as a total, we're gonna need like 4 to 5 items until we can actually make a dent into Interitus. With the current items that they have, it's not enough.
And you're talking about a Halberd and how useful that is versus Luna. It's also great versus the Gyrocopter, and there's already one on Hijack.
Yep, that too. Plus, with that Halberd on the Centaur, status resistance, magic resistance, physical damage resistance. With only 5 armor, he's still super hard to kill.
He is an absolute tank. I am very concerned for Unknown here. This is very likely the last fight of the game.
Could be. Very much could be. That is, if the Radiant team are able to take another victory under their belt, that might just mean a victory in this first map too. They see the Undying on the other side, but they're taking their time. They're like, maybe there's someone behind. Maybe they're playing out a bait. They see the Lion on the side too. We were getting hexed up. They also jumped the Undying at the same time. They find 1 kill. Lion able to teleport back home. The rest of the squad also back to safety. So only 1 kill. Still, an Undying kill is not good enough for Interitus. They're going to need something else. Either a core kill or at least 2 to 3 to be able to push to the high ground.
Yeah, to be able to push safely for sure. This Luna is pretty much ready, but they're still at risk of getting caught in an uncomfortable team fight with a Tombstone, with that Solar Guardian, and of course Invoker is one of the best choke point fighters in the game.
Gyrocopter going for he's got a Daedalus lined up. That could be an item that already starts to hurt the Radiant team. Still very, very, very far away from it, but never give up hope. Hope dies last. Spotted the Centaur in mid. Still no their past attempts. I'll let him be. Another smoke. Maximum time Roshan, by the way. Like 2 minutes 50 seconds-ish.
He could run into your Rayur here, but he's got a BKB, he's got a Bane to back him up. This is a hard kill.
Blink Hex is what starts things off with. And Unknown are just happy with placing down Vision. But it looks like they've actually found the Ops Ward on the cliff too. There's been some pinging onto this cliff. Thinking about Roshan, but that 2 minutes just might play into Unknown's favor. Rayur closing up.
Now.
See the Queen of Pain. Moonlight has to go in first, but he needs instant backup. They're still playing it safe. Still waiting in the back.
Did you see that lion bait?
Yep. I'm seeing the lion is walking in a circle around the cliff. Come and take me. Hijack finds Black Soul. Or does he? He's the camp's been farmed. They now know the location of where Unknown's heroes are. It's still a very, very waiting feeling.
Bring in the
Okay,
trap.
the trap has sprung. They've got the catch. They've got the finger of death to play onto this Quap as well, but still not enough. And she blinks away with the BKB. 400 HP remaining, and Rayur lives. It just wasn't enough damage. It was the right play.
It was, absolutely. And I love that Interitus is like, this is a mousetrap. Let's put our fingers in here, shall we? See if our fingers are tough enough. And as you know what? They are 70k ahead. They could totally do that.
Yeah, I think like they're removing the cheese from the trap in slow motion. They can see that it's moving, but they've already removed the cheese and they're out. Manipulating time, I guess, at this point. 17,000 gold advantage. Unknown with the full might, with the full force of 5 heroes, throwing every single spell at a hexed Quap, and Quap lives. I think we can all make our assumptions here.
I mean, we've all been there, haven't we?
We have.
And yeah, this vision on the cliff was really the only sort of anchor Unknown had to possibly stay steady in this Roshan area. And now that it's disappeared, they couldn't hold it. They have lost pretty much any chances at keeping the Roche here, especially now that FCR picks up a casual DD rune in his bottle. Why not? I wonder if Mahaz is still taking calls about those.
You're starting to think about is there like a difficulty adjustment meter here in the Dota settings? Well, into the Roche pit they go. They've waited their almost full 3 minutes for Roche to come back, and I think he's going to disappear just as quickly as he appeared into the pit. With this DD Luna hacking away. There's a shard available. Luna's going to absolutely love that. With all the damage, now you've got your Lucent Beam stealing out the right clicks. And of course, the Aegis and the Immortality. Bottom chase going on. Okay. Valiant effort. Almost kills off the Lion.
This Luna, if Unknown didn't have damage problems before this Aegis, they certainly do now. If they manage to kill her once, they do not have anything left in the tank for the second round. And that is if they even get at her, because Hijack is also still here, and this man is an absolute beast. He's going to be jumping in front of whatever gets thrown at her.
I agree. Hijack's been playing a really good Centaur game up till this point. He's been on point with his stuns, he's been leading the team, he's probably been the shot caller too, I feel, at some point, because he's the one going in and the rest are following. So it spells confidence from a player that he's living it and everybody's kind of riding the wave.
This very much feels like one of those games where just everything falls in place for Interitus. And those games feel, like, from behind the scenes I can tell you, that feels so good. You don't have to make any awkward adjustments, you don't have to call people out on any plays that were necessary. No, you can really focus on improving the details, getting everything right.
Quite potentially about to break loose, but just poking the Centaur there, burning his mana. Meanwhile, their tier 3 tower almost completely destroyed by FCR and Rayur. Quap will finish it off. The rest of the squad now trying to move from the below, actually. Trying to make a wraparound on the side towards the Weaver. Quap pops her invis, gets hexed up. Sun connection as well. They got the call down, but the jump from Hijack's going to be enough, and Moonlight's going to go down with Viper coming in from the Lionland. Our Gyrocopter in the middle doesn't really do much at this point. The Dawnbreaker is just a bit of a nuisance here in the arms of Hijack and FCR. Everybody else is just dying in the backlines. It's just the Bane kill, and everybody else has died on the side of Unknown. And there's the GG call 31 minutes in. I think it's a good time to start looking at Game 2 if you are Team Unknown, because I don't feel like anything really clicked in place.
It really didn't. I mean, they had so few tools to make moves with. They went in on this laning stage really hard, getting this Undying, putting a Dawnbreaker, which is very much a lane bully normally, on that core position, and not getting any momentum out of either of them. And after that happens, you got to have some momentum into the mid game, and they had nothing. They had to group up as 5 just to get that bottom tower down. And everything put together, yeah, you want to just go back to the drawing board, scrap this one, get yourself a new blank slate.
Yeah, we're gonna need some draft adjustment at least because the lanes went okay, but when you're thinking about if the lanes go 50-50, is that the result we want to look for from this draft? Because the mid game really was their time to kind of push the advantage into Unknown's favor. We didn't see that. We didn't even get to mid game when they were already taking a beating. And you look at the draft and you're kind of like, well, we've run out of options, boys. Like, there's no clock to look at anymore in that case. So maybe a couple adjustments here and there. I would still like to see this Dawnbreaker. I feel like the Dawnbreaker and the Lion are very stable, good picks here. Their lane went okay. Just maybe fix around a little bit. Like, do you want to have the Undying? Do you want another support around that? Would you like to think about another mid hero instead of the Invoker? But that's just me. I mean, it might be that we see the same heroes, but I would like to see the Dawnbreaker line again. I did like that lane.
I'd like to see it again, and I'd like to see it work because I always like these regional picks, and I've seen a Dawnbreaker in the post 5 really turn up as a bully, and I know you can do that with a post 3 as well. She gets so tanky, she deals so much damage, she can be everywhere on the map. It feels like with her ult. But unfortunately, that will have to wait for another game, and maybe it's the next one.
Maybe it is. We will be back in a couple of minutes with the second game of the series between Team Unknown and Interitus here with T-Panda and Kips on the cast.